Hello everyone and welcome to the University of Arts London College of Fashion 2025 Fashion Business School Postgraduate Podcast Sessions. These series of panel discussions have been driven and influenced by the exciting and topical fashion industry related subjects researched and delivered by our postgraduate master's programme students for their final major projects. They cover current and relevant themes shaping the wider fashion industry, such as global supply chains and policies, psychology in fashion, online environments and inclusivity, and the use of AI. We hope that you enjoy these sessions and thank you for listening.
Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Ruth Jacob and I am the course leader for MA Fashion Marketing and Global Cultures here at the Fashion Business School at London College of Fashion. We have a group of students here and I would like them to introduce themselves and just tell us a bit about your master's project. So we'll start with my immediate left.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I'm on strategic fashion marketing, and I've just finished my master's project, which was a practice-based project, and it was a short film with the research underpinned by the research question whether escapism influences brand resonance in short fashion film.
Hi, I'm Mrudula and I'm from the MA Fashion Entrepreneurship and Innovation course. My master's project was a dissertation about building a business model strategy or a business model method to build a business that blends cultures, global cultures, and fashion in a contemporary design way. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jeanne. I'm from the MA Fashion Design Management, and I did a dissertation on patriarchy in the fashion industry and how that impacts the actors of the organizations and what would be alternative models, business models for that.
Okay, fantastic, perfect. Thank you so much. So really diverse, distinctive projects, but still there's a common theme of culture presented within them. So I'd like to start by just you telling me, how did you come to choose your topic? What was the inspiration? What was the theme behind choosing your topics?
Well, I knew I wanted to do something that really resonated with Gen Z. And I think after doing research and reading a lot of current articles, I found out that escapism is quite an up-and-coming topic among marketing right now in the fashion industry, because Gen Z are really wanting to break free from all the authenticity that's getting pushed in their face every day, which obviously is a good thing, but I think it's just become tired. So it's quite a relevant topic, and I knew I wanted to do something that was very relevant. And I also knew I wanted to do something a bit different and creative. And I knew that escapism could be very creative because it's based in fantasy and creative elements. So yeah, that's why I chose that topic.
Excellent, thank you. Okay.
So my project inspiration came from my early childhood, sort of, because it was all about traditional textile crafts and how we can represent them in a contemporary design way so that it's relevant to the modern world. So my inspiration came from my family and my country that I come from, which is India, and a lot from my great-grandmother actually. So she passed away before I was born. So me getting to know her, the only way was the scraps that she left behind, the embroidery pieces or the quilts that she made for her grandkids and stuff. So, and I was always told that I was a lot like her. So that kind of really inspired me to know more about her, and that's how I grew my relationship with traditional textile crafts. And then in my undergrad, I also worked with traditional textile crafts. So that kind of just kept piling up, and then when I joined the course, I knew this is what I wanted to do as the final project.
For me, what I was reading about feminist books, especially Bell Hooks and Mona Chollet, which is a French author. And I did also to get inside of this master, I was writing already on beauty. And then I was patriarchy is such a big thing in our world. Might as well try to tap into that. So this is just what I did, and then kept on reading, and I liked it. So
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. What would you say are the key themes that you found out from your research? Because again, very distinctive topics. what would you say is a key thing that you found out? Or maybe something you went into it thinking, oh, okay, I've got a different perspective on this now. What would you say are the key things that you found out?
I think the key thing I found out was how much Gen Z place importance on connecting with like the natural environment and the importance on sustainability, because pretty much every interview I did, this was always brought into it among my primary research. And that's something that really like underpinned the film that I did, because I made sure there was a big element of nature in it. It seemed that Gen Z really wanted to see a lot of nature and connecting with natural beauty of the world, and because I guess everyone's surrounded 24/7 by technology. And yeah, it's not something I really thought about. Like, I didn't really think, oh, when I'm watching an ad or watching a film, I want to see lots of nature. It's not something that really went through my mind, but a lot of people said that that's what they wanted to see. So yeah, probably that. And also, I didn't do anything on AI in my project, but the fact that AI can be used in a positive way in ads and films, it can be used in combination with reality in order to achieve a good outcome. I think quite a lot of people were speaking about that, and I read quite a lot of that in my secondary research as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
For me, it was the vast culture difference. So I interviewed in two different landscapes. One was India and one was Austria, so Europe and Asia. And there was a lot of this difference in how artisans themselves perceive their own craft or traditionalism in general. But the common theme was skepticism. You know, in the current fashion scenario, there is a lot of fast-paced and technology-based design or even production where human touch is not much involved in the entire production or supply chain. So that is something that they are really skeptical towards. Like, we don't want to be, scammed or even be represented in a wrong way. We want to keep our traditions alive in the way that is appropriate for our culture. And that is something that they are scared of, and that is why they don't really venture out into the global world or the global platforms. So I think if we can bring in, my key understanding from this entire research was, if we can bring in that human touch and human conversation, where we build a sort of like an collateral understanding between the artisans as well as the producers or the designers, that kind of would be a good match and a good way to give them a traditional textile crafts a good global platform.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank
you. Well, I did interview, because I did qualitative research, so I did interview quite a few younger people, especially in the fashion industry. And what, like, the main thing that struck to me was this craving and this need for a more caring environment, especially in the organizational structures and just the way power is like dynamics are made, and also the fact that there is such a big precarity in the fashion industry, especially in employment, not even employment, but just in work. And it was a bit sad actually to see how bad it was, like, because you do not think that behind the scene people that do not have the spotlight are in such precarious position. So this was, I knew a bit, but I was not expecting for everyone to state it like this.
So explicit.
Yeah. And also it was kind of like funny to see how women-led this industry is, and how we still have such conservatism in the way organization functions and everything. And I was like, especially in like very patriarchal dynamics, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, I loved it. It was nice.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. The key thing that's coming to mind is obviously you, with being practice-based, you were working with the company, you're working with artisans, and you're speaking with organizations directly. So there is this element of culture within business organizations. I don't know if there's maybe like thoughts on how that maybe fits into how people are treated. And I don't know if maybe that's something that resonated with you when you were thinking about developing your projects. Obviously, it's something that may be of interest further down the line when you're going into careers? Would you be looking into the company culture? Is that something that factors in or that you think about?
I think definitely, yeah. I wouldn't want to work for a company whose values I don't agree with, for example. Or, for example, I wouldn't personally want to work for a fast fashion company. So like when I was choosing the company to collaborate with, I wanted to make sure they were like an ethical slow fashion brand, which they were.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it is really important, company culture.
Okay. Cool.
I think, yeah, for me too, company culture is very important. And when it comes to traditional crafts, there's also the aspect of authenticity and ethicalness, because there's, again, artisans in remote places, which becomes a little difficult. So the employee culture has to be very accepting and understanding, as well as like there has to be free conversation between people that makes the company a happy place to be in for everyone involved in it. So yes.
Perfect. Okay.
For myself, obviously, I feel like I would prefer to have like a good culture, like company culture and everything. And I feel like when you do ask people, usually they would prefer that. But in reality, we do have to know that, especially in the fashion industry, depending on what your goal will be in the end, you may end up in companies you don't really stand for and everything. I feel like it depends so much on what you believe for yourself and everything. But yeah, for me, I would prefer being able to choose the company I can work with, but it's not always possible.
Sometimes you have to work your way up and then hopefully be a voice of change within the system, within the environment. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Okay. So from your perspective and from lived experiences and from conducting your research, how would you describe culture? What would you say that is in the context, for example, of marketing or business practices?
I think culture is the bringing together of so many different aspects, and I think it all like boils down to what not necessarily a company, but what a person or a company or a group of people stand for, and it's their shared values really, coming from everything from background to beliefs. It's just a mixture of everything, I think, and it makes people or companies like who they are. I think it's pretty much just who that person or that company is. That's what culture is. Okay.
I think they collide a lot, business and marketing, especially with culture. There's a lot of storytelling involved. And if you go into the traditional aspects of different countries and their cultures, again, it is a lot of blending between business and marketing, and it has to be balanced in a good way. So I think that is a really important thing and a key thing to survive and thrive as a brand or a company.
Yeah, culture, I feel like it depends so much on everyone's belief, which is why it's very hard for people to be able to fit completely in a brand, because the brand has some beliefs and values, as you said. And then people have other values and beliefs. And then in the end, it's always trying to be in the middle and kind of like be able to kind of find your place within the company. But I feel like it is such a complex question to understand what just culture is, because there are so many stuff that is just that people have within themselves that they don't even realize, and it's almost impossible to be able to have like a culture for everyone. You know what I mean? Like a company culture is a bit of hard in my opinion. Yeah,
it's such a multifaceted element because the company itself will have its own culture, its own standpoint, its own being, and then you've got multiple people who themselves have their own standpoints, their own backgrounds, their own experiences, and all of that is coming together. And sometimes there can be clashes, sometimes clashes for good, sometimes clashes not for not for the better. But I think the key thing is just making sure that people are aware of all these distinctions. I think you mentioned allowing voices to be heard. I think that's a key thing that supports culture taking place within business and marketing.
Also, communicating that with the audience, that can be really difficult to do as a collective of multiple employees, and that being company. it might get really difficult to be able to communicate that with the audience and how they perceive it. So that is where.
Okay, cool, perfect. No, but great to hear your thoughts on that. Okay. So what would you say is the key takeaway you want people to understand or think about or resonate with them when they interact with your projects? And we'll start from this side. So Jana, can you tell us what would you say is the key takeaway?
I would just love, because I was trying to put a bit more emphasis on the people that are not usually in the light, I would say, especially in the fashion industry. And my whole paper was around patriarchy, and I was explaining how much we have like this male leader figure, and then all of the rest of the people are just mostly women, like 95% of the people in the company are women working. And then you see how much they have like little to no recognition. And then you talk to people and then they say that they would love to have more. So we just like for people to just understand that fashion is just people working in an industry that does not give that much recognition and spotlight to people. It's not just bling bling. So just for people to be able to understand what it is more than just fashion shows and male designer genius, and that's
it's about shining light on, in this case, like the female involvement, the female power that does power, whether it's business organizations or design or inspiration. And in many cases, women do predominantly make up the customer audience as well. So it's about perfect. Thank you so much. Okay.
So for me, my research project revolved around building a bridge between cultures so that people from Europe could wear textiles from India, or people from India could wear textiles from Europe, and creating that global cultural exchange. And that is something that is a little difficult to achieve when it comes to traditional textiles because of the remote locations. So that was the whole point of the project, to be able to simplify that supply chain. So I just hope anyone who wants to build a brand, that wants to create such a global company or a brand, is able to pick up from the research paper and build their supply chain in a way that they can finally execute it in an affordable way as well.
Okay. And also in a way that reflects each of the cultures and their artisan, their craftsmanship.
Yes, and in an authentic way without, having any cultural appropriation, because it gets really easy coming from India. It can be very easy for me to understand European culture, so having local people involved in the supply chain as well, so that everything is appropriate and we are not offending anyone. So that is also an aspect that really needs to be considered with culture.
Thank you.
I think the key takeaway is I want people to realize that marketing can be more than just an ad or just a series of photos. It can be like an intersection of film, art, media. It can. That it's important for it to be something experiential as well. So because I was focusing on escapism, I was looking at the importance of like being taken away from reality when you see an ad or a film. And I think I just want people to realize after watching the film that I've made or reading the project that it's really important for marketing to be something more than just selling you the product. It's something a lot more meaningful than that.
Something that's a bit more immersive.
Exactly.
Feels like it's got more personal touch.
Yeah, exactly. More personal touch, and does more for you than just sells you a product. It sells you the brand values and everything.
Excellent. Okay. So tell us what's next for you.
Well, I'm currently looking for a job. I am I'm hoping to go into art direction or production, but my end goal is art direction. So I'm hoping to work for an ad agency or a fashion production agency, and working towards just being on the creative side of production. That is my goal.
For me, I'm also looking for a job. I want to work somewhere in fashion buying and merchandising, or even supply chain management. I think that is something that I thrive in. And eventually, I want to build my own brand, since I created all this entire project about building a business model strategy. I want to implement that strategy. And yeah, that's the goal eventually, maybe 5 years down the lane. But till then, I want to gain some experience and help people grow.
Well, nothing to do with the paper. I would just, I'm also looking for a job, but I would like to work in as a stylist. It could be for anything really, so like magazines and everything. I just did this paper because I was like, you know what, let's do academia, let's try it, and yeah, nothing to do with the job.
So finally, I'd like to ask you, for up-and-coming fashion business students with a focus on culture, what advice would you share?
I'd say for your final project, don't be afraid to do something different. Don't be afraid to really explore culture in a different way. So have a look at every path that you could go down. Don't just think of the obvious, I'm going to write a dissertation about the difference between this culture and this culture in the fashion industry. Try do something completely different. Do a practice-based project on something you never thought you'd do. There's so many different ways to perceive culture without just specifically looking at the culture of one place or one company or whatever. I think just really explore the field, because it's a massive field and culture can come into everything. And just don't be afraid to go out there, because it's a really good opportunity where you get like months to just focus on one project.
Okay. I think I would like to add and say, really focus on the storytelling. No matter which culture you're exploring, of course, go ahead and explore every possible thing that could interest you. But also really focus on the storytelling aspect, because culture is a story, It's an experience. It's about people and their belief systems. So really focus on what you want to communicate and how you're doing it.
Yeah, I would say to just go for it, because in the end, it's something that we all have in our life. It's something that is so important in the world, and I feel like it's sometimes a bit not like talked about enough and everything. So I would like to say that just go for it, especially if something really piqued your interest and you really like it, then just go.
Okay, so it's about going for it. Don't limit yourself. Don't stay within boundaries. Feel free to push beyond the boundaries, explore the boundaries, make the most of the resources and activities that are available to you, and don't forget the storytelling. It's been incredible speaking with you all. Thank you so much for your time, for giving us insights into your projects, and I wish you all the very best in your future endeavours. And I can imagine not in the not too distant future we'll be hearing more about your future successes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.